Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Celtics beat the Bucks 139-118 on Christmas. And one thing I wasn't expecting, one thing that did surprise me in this one was Giannis Antetokounmpo, game low, minus 27, 9 of 22 from the field. He started 5 of 15 in this one, so stacks up a bunch of those buckets late in the game. Worse performance than it looked like on paper. Misses 4 free throws, 27 points, probably more, close to 20 when you look at the actual impact of the game there. And 3 assists to 3 turnovers, not what he's looking for either. Celtics able to turn him over at times and certainly force him to settle. Yeah. 1 of 5 night from 3. I don't know what happened there. I didn't get to talk to him post-game, but did talk to Grant a little bit about Celtics' knowledge of his tendencies. I'm sure that plays into it, but he was dominant in that second-round series last year through 6 games. 7th game comes around. I think he ran out of gas, but tonight, with a rest day recently, a couple 40-point games coming into this one, there was no reason to expect that he would struggle as much as he did. And I said on Twitter, this was as bad as I've seen Giannis look in years.
Yeah, I think the Celtics defense just did a really good job of making him comfortable to take those shots. And even though they didn't always go in, he relied on them a lot. And they were also contested, too. It wasn't like they were open looks all the time. But I think you're onto something for sure, Bobby, when you said that they just knew his tendencies. They knew when to throw the double team at him. And the Celtics did a really good job of just converting those stops into layups. I mean, we can't say enough about that, especially in the first half. I feel like the Celtics are just getting the ball off the floor real quick, the fast break, the outlet, Bucks trying to get back on defense, the transition defense from the Bucks. They really exposed them a bit, especially when they were starting to create separation. And Giannis, though he was able to get to the line and get, make the move that he usually makes to get himself going, they were always behind, it seemed like. And he did a good job also trying to get other guys involved as well. But the Celtics offense just really countered what the Bucks were trying to do in the sense of trying to steal that momentum.
Yeah, keeping them out of transition, Josue thought too, key factor in limiting them. They're not always the best half-court offense. You've seen that statistically through the years, and the Celtics kept them in that area, making 50% of your shots. Right. Almost 60% actually for the Celtics is going to do that as well. The Bucks just couldn't generate those open floor looks, and that's where Giannis stacks up a lot of his offense. He's probably the best transition player in the league. So you love what they did there. Shooters cut them off for the most part. Brook Lopez, they knew coming in that he was shooting hot. Didn't see him really shoot it at all in this one. So all around, you're starting to feel good about the Celtics defense right now. Into the top 10, there's some lapses for sure, quarter by quarter, maybe a half. But Mazzulla said earlier this week he's not worried about the halves or stretches that look abnormal compared to the bigger amount of defensive success that they're putting together right now. And I see it. And there's some resistance there.
For sure. And I think that's the part of their game that it's easy to overlook because they weren't converting them into wins, right?
Yeah.
They've gradually improved on that end of the floor defensively, right? But as a team, it just seemed like the way they were playing on offense and just struggling, how teams were able to just limit them for 4 or 5, almost 6-minute stretches where they were pretty much scoreless, or at least they hadn't made a field goal. I mean, that's when people got worried about what the Celtics team truly was, their identity. But defensively, they've been improving the last couple of weeks. It doesn't always show up record-wise, but they were able to put it all together with the stellar offense today.
Yeah, and like I said on post-game, I'm worried about the Bucks. I think their offensive numbers are concerning. Yeah. Their defense has slipped from top of the league, the most dominant group, and I'm sure there's some level of coasting that goes into that. But overall, they've dropped 3 games in a row now. I think Chris Middleton in and out of this lineup, the way he's been to start this year, is something you have to question with them when it comes to their depth. And then, of course, the actual depth, the bench, an area I think the Celtics really had the upper hand in that series last year. Not to overlook Giannis, not to overlook that team, but I think you do have to question whether they're the chief competitor of the Celtics in the conference when you have the Nets rising, when you have the Cavs rising up the way they have. But these two teams will meet again in February. Chippiness tonight?
Yes.
Do you think it carries over when they meet again, or is this just a one-time thing?
I think it might. What was it? Rib shot? Throwing elbows to the rib?
Giannis and Jalen.
We caught that in real time, and just the way Jalen looked back at him, I'm like, wait a minute, is something going to happen here? And then obviously it did. The stare down. Jalen was like, look, I'm not gonna take that from you, Giannis.
Giannis's brother ends up in the mix. He's always in the mix when something goes off like that. That's his job.
That's that brother instinct. I don't blame him, but it didn't disrupt the Celtics. That's the important part, and I think that's sort of what Giannis was trying to do. I don't think it was people could say if it was a cheap shot, dirty shot. I don't know. I gotta see it again. But that's what superstars tend to do sometimes. They want to trigger.
He's physical.
They want to trigger the opposing player into getting them out of their focus, and that didn't work this time. So kudos to Jalen for not letting him get the best out of him.
Celtics beat the Bucks pretty emphatically. We went over the ins and outs of it last segment, so go check that out on Celtics All Access, CLNS Media for all the post-game interviews.
Yes.
Of course, show our sponsors
Absolutely.
some love. Celtics continuing this homestand, but we'll be back on the road into February. So help support us by going to our sponsors, rocketmoney.com/Garden. That's a big one. Go over there. I think you'll really love that app in terms of the money management tools that they have, subscriptions that you can cancel. And again, the big one, you can get some savings on subscriptions if you want to keep them. Just go check it out, rocketmoney.com/Garden and athleticgreens.com/Garden for 5 free travel packs of probiotics, whole food source, vitamins, minerals, pretty much anything you can think of is in that mix, with great reviews too, plus a year of immune boosting vitamin D. That's athleticgreens.com/Garden. For Josue, Pavo, and Bobby Manning, we'll see you back here on Tuesday against the Houston Rockets.